Welcome in the Steelers Talk by Chat Sports, presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. And of course, yesterday, the Pittsburgh Steelers' 2026 schedule was officially released by the National Football League. And today, it is my first 2026 Steelers record prediction heading into the rest of this offseason. Now, before we get into the content, before I share what I kind of see for the Pittsburgh Steelers here during the 2026 campaign, make sure you predict it for me down there in the comment section to kick us off. Predict the Steelers record heading in to the 2026 season. All right, so now I want you guys to keep in mind that I am going to be assuming that Aaron Rodgers will be back for this year's Steelers season, and it won't be Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, Drew Aller. I think that they would lose a lot more games and win a lot fewer games if Aaron Rodgers is not on this team, and it just seems like a foregone conclusion at this point that it's a when, not if question when it comes to Rodgers, so I do expect him to be on the team by the time we get to week one. And speaking of week one, I'm going to project that the Pittsburgh Steelers continue their win streak at home versus the Atlanta Falcons. They have never lost to the Falcons in Pittsburgh. I don't think that that changes here. I think that Tua Tagovailoa and the Falcons might, have a decent fight there. In week one, you never know what could happen, but I do think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the better team, and I think that they will come away with the victory at home. Then in week two, this is where I'll have the Steelers take their first loss of the season versus Drake May and the New England Patriots. I do think the Steelers can put up a decent fight, but I don't think that you can rely on 5 turnovers like you had last year in Foxborough. I think Drake May plays well, and I think he ends up winning what I think might be a pretty decently fought football game. Then in week 3, on my birthday actually, versus the Pussycats, I'm going to project a nice birthday present for me here with a win. The Bengals traditionally do not play particularly well in the first month of seasons, and I think that this is a great opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get a divisional win. Then I'm also going to project that on the short week versus Cleveland, this is where they will get their win versus the Cleveland Browns on the road. I think that the Steelers' defense will do a good job versus Deshaun Watson or Shadur Sanders or whoever the hell is playing quarterback for them this year, and they get a nice start to their divisional schedule with 2 early wins. Now, let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Are you going to go to a Steelers game this year of any variety, home, away, international? Are you planning on going to a Steelers game this season? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our presenting sponsor. While I do so, give me a yes or a no down there in the comments. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today here at PrizePicks, which is America's #1 sports picks app. With playoff basketball, it's still here, guys, but it won't be around forever. And there's no better place to cash in during playoff season than with our friends at PrizePicks. The app is super easy to use. Just pick more than or less than on a few player stat projections, and then lock in your lineup. And if basketball isn't your thing, they have a ton of other sports to choose from as well, with a number of different stat projections to choose from to truly customize your daily fantasy lineups. You guys can take a look here at this basketball lineup here, where I'm taking the more on James Harden, the less on Anthony Edwards, the more on Castle here, and then the more on Wemby. So if you guys want to get your own projection in there, you guys can download the PrizePicks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with our friends at PrizePicks. Click the link in the comments and description to download the app. And a big thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring Steelers Talk. Then in week 5 at home, I will project a close game here between the Steelers and the Colts. I do think the Colts are a formidable bunch, especially when Daniel Jones is healthy. Of course, they're getting Sauce Gardner back healthy this year, but I am going to project, just like last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers getting the win versus the Colts at Acrisure Stadium. Then in week 6, on the road versus the Buccaneers, another game that could go either way, in my opinion, but I will project the Steelers to get the win there in a really good road matchup here. I think that that's a good team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that the Steelers are a good team as well. I think that'll be a very good matchup. I'm going to project the Steelers come away with the dub. Then we travel to Paris in week 7. I will once again project a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers in what is shaping up to be a very successful start to their 2026 campaign. I do think that the Steelers' roster is better than the Saints' roster, and I think that going internationally, we saw this team handle that very, very well. I think that they'll do it once again with a win over the Saints. Then in week 8 versus the Browns, obviously you have to kind of deal with the fact that you don't get your bye week after traveling internationally. I think that the Steelers' players will be kind of tired there. I think the Browns are going to be looking for revenge after a loss on Thursday Night Football earlier in the season. I think that the Browns end up beating the Steelers. It always seems like the Browns, find some way to win a game against the Steelers, no matter how bad of a team that they have. And I think that the Browns team this year will be better than it has been in recent seasons under new head coach Todd Monken. So I'm going to project here that the Browns get a win over the Steelers in Week 8. Then, of course, the Steelers have their bye in Week 9 to regroup in time for their game versus the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football. And I'm going to project that the Steelers lose that game, even despite the extra time to prepare. It's always a tough matchup going up against a healthy Joe Burrow, and assuming that Bengals team is healthy at this point in the season, I think that team could be a well-oiled machine. They made some nice additions to the defense this year as well. Don't expect the Bengals to be a pushover team this year, so I'll project a split between the Steelers and the Bengals. Then at Week 11, I'll also have the Steelers lose once again, so this is 3 straight losses here for the Pittsburgh Steelers after a very good start to their season, but the Eagles, very, very difficult team to play on the road there in Philly. The Steelers haven't beaten these guys in a very, very long time in Philly. So I think that trend continues. Then in Week 12, a very impressive win on Black Friday here for the Steelers versus the Broncos. Once again, I think that's going to be a really close game between 2 good football teams with 2 good defenses, what I'm projecting for these 2 groups. Very, very comparable teams, in my opinion. But with the Steelers being home, I'm going to project Aaron Rodgers delivers a close victory in the fourth quarter. Then in a really pivotal moment for the season, in my opinion, I'm going to have the Steelers beat the Houston Texans at home on Sunday Night Football. It's a warm weather team that plays indoors coming to Pittsburgh in December. I think that, this game is going to prove that this year's Steelers team is better than what they had last year because of the better coaching, because of the better weapons surrounding the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. I project that the Steelers will win that game and get their revenge over the Houston Texans. Now make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already, because we still got the home stretch here for my record prediction for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2026. But if you appreciate our hard work, putting in all these hours throughout the course of the offseason to get you guys multiple free Steelers videos a day on this channel, not to mention multiple Steelers live shows a week. If you guys appreciate the work that we put in, we would greatly appreciate it if you guys click that thumbs up icon. Then in Week 14, this is where I'll have the Steelers lose. Probably a close game on Monday Night Football in Jacksonville, but Liam Cohen has that Jacksonville Jaguars crew playing good football. I think in year 2, they're going to take yet another step forward. They're going to be one of the tougher teams in the AFC this year, in my opinion, so I will project a loss here for Pittsburgh. Then Week 15, at home versus Baltimore. Unfortunately, I will project a loss to the Ratbirds here. Now, it's certainly possible that Aaron Rodgers, who swept the Ravens last year, could do it again this year, but I am going to project that the Steelers lose at home versus the Ravens after what I'm expecting to be a tough game versus Jacksonville. But then Week 16 versus the Panthers, I think the Panthers are a regression team this year. They honestly didn't make a whole lot of big-time additions, especially to their offense this year. They did add Jalen Phillips to the defensive side of the ball, but I don't really think that Panthers team and that roster is all that great, to be honest with you. So I think that the Steelers at home should be able to take advantage of that opportunity. Then I also think the Titans will be a team that improves under new head coach Robert Saleh, but they won't be a complete team just yet. I think that the Steelers can go into Tennessee in Week 17 and certainly get a victory. And then in Week 18 in Baltimore, I'm going to have the Steelers take the game in Baltimore. If the season's on the line, if the division's on the line, I'm going to take our guys here in the black and gold to get the victory and make sure that they finish this regular season off on a strong note. So just to recap here in terms of my schedule or my record prediction, here in the first 8 games, I have a 6-2 record for the Pittsburgh Steelers to start their season. I have them actually winning 6 of their first 7 games, so a very strong start to their 2026 schedule. But then I have them losing to the Browns, Bengals, and Eagles all in a row in the middle of the season. Then 2 big wins against Denver and Houston. Then a couple of losses to some really good teams here in Jacksonville and Baltimore. And then I project 3 straight victories for the Pittsburgh Steelers going into the NFL postseason very, very hot. And yes, I am projecting that the Steelers will make the playoffs yet again because I'm projecting an 11-6 record. Now, will that be enough to win the division? It really depends on how good Cincinnati is. It depends how good Baltimore is. If they can get up to 12 or 13 wins, obviously that would mean a playoff berth for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I've been saying it all offseason long, guys, especially since the NFL draft. This year's Steelers team is the best and most complete, especially if Aaron Rodgers is going to be coming back, that I've had as the host of this channel. I think that this team is better than last year's. They did a good job addressing the problems that really plagued and really limited this team last year. And I think that this year's team, although I don't really consider them Super Bowl favorites heading into the year, I do think that it's very possible that they could be within that group of 6 to 8 teams by the end of the season that could feasibly go on a run and could be one of the more well-balanced teams in the National Football League. So I'm going to project an 11-6 record. I don't think that's crazy whatsoever. I think this team is better than it was last year, and we went 10-6 last year. So give me a true or false down there in the comment section. The Steelers will win the division again this season. Type a T if you think that statement is going to be true, or type F if you think that statement is going to end up being false. But that'll be it for my first record prediction here for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2026. If you made it to the end of today's show and you're with this team no matter what, I want you guys to identify yourself as a real one down there in the comment section. So type those real ones in all caps so we can give you some love down there in the comment section. And that'll be it for today's show. Just so you guys know, Ponzi and I are planning on going live and kicking off your weekend here. And guess what, guys? Now that the schedule is here, that means it's Madden Sim season. We're going to be starting our Madden Sim schedule and season here later this afternoon. So if you guys want to join us, we're planning on going live at around 5 p.m. Eastern time. Going to be doing a mailbag, breaking down the latest news and rumors, and of course, our first Madden Sim when we take on the Atlanta Falcons. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join us at 5 p.m. Eastern time later today for Steelers Talk Live. Until then, guys, here we go, Steelers.